Well, it's the first time we've been able to chat with the Chief Minister for the new year. Welcome, and is it going to be a good year? I suppose I should ask first of all. Are you feeling positive?
Yes, I think in general, the Allan is in good shape at the moment.
Well, last week Mr. Skelly did a very upbeat
yes, the economy is looking strong still growing. We've had unemployment figures out this week which are absolutely in line with what would normally happen seasonally. Very little change.
Inflation rate low?
Inflation heading almost towards deflation in fact at present.
But that's just following the UK, isn't it? I mean, the petrol prices are down. There's nothing particular here that's
we have no influence really on this at all. The only thing that I have done this week in relation to that, though, is to write to the OFT to ask them to ensure that the savings which the providers are clearly making by the reduced price of oil are genuinely passed on to the public. It's most important that the public really genuinely get reduced prices at the petrol pumps.
Although, I suppose in their defence, they buy so far ahead these
I appreciate
people.
that. You know, I know it's not a straightforward thing, but it's just a shot across the bows to make sure that they know government is watching this very carefully. The public undoubtedly expect us to ensure that these savings are passed on, and we just want to reassure people that is what we're trying to do.
Of course, it gives you a major headache because you're getting less tax in.
Yes. Yeah.
That must be something you haven't calculated on when you were doing your budgets.
Well,
initially, I mean, who would have thought petrol would be half the price?
You wouldn't. I mean, this has surprised most people. I think the rate it's dropped at. It does lose a certain amount of money for Treasury. It's not a huge amount, but
I thought it was like 2/3 was tax or something on the actual, and a lot of VAT and other.
And it's duty as much as anything else, and so there will be a small drop off, but it's not a huge amount of money. But obviously, in the present situation, government can't afford to lose.
Well, I mean, Mr. Tier was talking about when the escalator was in place for the fuel. This in the UK, he was always looking forward to that in the sense he knew he was going to get extra money in. That suddenly stopped, so he was even then thinking, all my calculations are again in back in the air.
There's two elements you need to be careful about here, though. One, obviously, is that government will be affected. The man in the street will benefit, and I think there's an estimate of something like £100 a year that, with the current rates, it will save the average motorist. But there is a downside to this that we need to be aware of too, because the price of oil is contributing to the inflation rate. And we have an inflation rate now of only 0.2%, and the likelihood is oil prices are going to drop still further over the next few months. And the big concern economically, and it's not just for the Isle of Man, this is right across Europe now, is that European economies will slip into deflation. Now, deflation might sound good in some quarters. It means prices are coming down. That's great. But what it actually means in reality is many people will put off buying stuff today because they think they might get it cheaper tomorrow.
And Japan had this, didn't they?
Japan has had a decade of it,
yeah.
And that the economy has stagnated completely because of it. It puts off investors. People who want to invest today will say, no, I'll leave it for another 6 months because whatever the development is going to be cheaper. So I think we've got to be careful. Good news on the one hand, but just be cautious on the other. There is a problem there as well.
You say you looked at the petrol prices. What about the MUA? I mean, technically, will their prices be under scrutiny now because of falling prices?
Yeah, we are obviously looking at that at the moment to see what impact it will have on the MUA.
Tricky though, because you still want to pay off all their debts.
Yes.
So you don't exactly know what to do, I bet, on this one.
No, it is a challenge for government because we clearly want to get the debts down as quickly as possible. They are coming down now. It is our strategy is working. But clearly also we have very high energy prices on the island.
And you put them up, well, I say you, the MUA put them up again last year, didn't they?
So reducing those prices, while beneficial for the public and for business, would be detrimental to the financial plan for the MUA. So we have to look at it very carefully, but we are looking at it at the moment.
It is a big burden for the Isle of Man, isn't it, the cost of things like this?
It is, but the strategy we have in place for the MUA, since we merged the two and amalgamated the balance sheets, shows that we are making real progress now, and we have a route out of the debt.
Okay.
Take a few years. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it's on the way.
And the budget around the corner, so you're all set for that, are you?
I think most people will be happy with the outcome. We've obviously had an extremely painful year, and I once again have to apologise to the public generally for the pain we've had to inflict over this 12 months. It gives me no pleasure whatsoever.
Are you going grabbing again? I mean, I'm talking about the toilet tax there, when you went in there
No.
with ill-conceived, as even you admit
Yes,
now, grabbing money quickly in the wrong way.
I've asked now for all departments to pause on these charges that they're bringing in. One of the concerns I had right at the outset when I first became Chief Minister was that government had to be more efficient. It had to make genuine savings within the department, i.e. reduce the size of departments, or perhaps reduce or remove altogether some of their actions. Some departments, though, rather than actually heading for improved efficiency, have simply put up charges as an easy route to rebalance the budget. Now, I can understand in some ways why that's happened, but I have asked all departments not to continue that route. We've got to try in future. I think the public have had enough charges placed on them at present. It's not something I want us to continue
So what,
with.
slim down, take people out of the payroll instead?
If we can do that to find other ways, more efficient ways of providing those services, that should be the way forward for the future.
Do you think that therefore the tipping point's been reached now, where people have said enough's enough? I mean, I know Jersey, Guernsey having the same things.
Yes, I do. I think we have put quite a burden on the public over the last 3 years or so. It's been necessary, unfortunately. As I say, it's given me no pleasure whatsoever. But I do think we've approached the limit of tolerance in some areas for the public to be continuing to face this drip feeding of new
but
charges.
also, yeah, support from your MHKs is going to be less, because they're looking, a lot of them, to the public for that vote in a few years' time.
Yeah, well, they've been looking for that for the last 3 years, but yes, but that will be the case. But my comments now are nothing to do with the election. I hear what people say. I know that there's been pain caused outside. It's not something that we've had any pleasure in, but we have actually almost achieved what we wanted to do.
And we'll be talking to you in a fairly positive light by sounds of it. You're making indications that it won't be a painful budget then.
I don't think it'll be seen as a painful budget, no. I think it's a steady as you go budget, as you might expect from Mr. Tier. But we've been trying to incrementally draw back on the money that we've lost over the last 3 or 4 years. We've made some very radical changes right across government. The way ahead will be we're beginning to put a new framework for where we're going for the future. So I think we are coming to the end of the first phase of our long-term strategy to stabilise the economy, stabilise our finances, and introduce a sustainable route for the future.